If men could speak freely, half our graves would be empty. This is TOMU, the Open Mic Unfiltered. Let's get fucking into it. This episode's a little heavier, but it's one that needs to be had. Right now, we're in Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, a time to shine a light on something that's been kept in the shadows for far too long. Because here's the truth. Too many men are dying too young. Too many men are dying with their stories still trapped inside them. And it's not just from physical illness or accidents. It's from mental illness, from silence, from the weight of expectations. I mean, let's just start with the numbers, because they tell a story. Globally, men are around 3 to 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. In the UK, 3/4 of all suicides are by men. In the US, it's roughly the same. And in countries like Australia, Canada, and across Europe, the pattern repeats itself. Every day, fathers, brothers, sons, and friends are lost. Not because they didn't want to live, but because they didn't know how to ask for help. And the heartbreaking part, most men who die by suicide never reached out for professional support. They didn't walk into a therapist's office, didn't tell anyone how bad it had become. They just kept it locked in until they couldn't anymore. The question is, why is it like this? Why do so many men feel they can't open up? It starts with the messages we absorb early on. Be strong, don't cry, handle it, man up. We learn to wear a mask, one that says I'm fine, even when we're breaking inside. Society has built this image of masculinity that doesn't leave much room for pain. We praise resilience, but mistake silence for strength. We teach boys to fight their battles alone, then wonder why so many men feel isolated, angry, or numb. The truth is, the world tells men to be everything but human. You can be funny, successful, ambitious, but vulnerable, emotional, scared. That's often seen as a weakness. And that's the lie that kills. And the thing is, that mask isn't just something men wear in public. It becomes a second skin. It follows them into relationships, into work, into fatherhood, into friendships. Men learn early on that their value is tied to performance, stability, and control. So admitting fear, sadness, confusion, or pain, it feels like breaking some unwritten code. Many men don't speak up because they genuinely believe their emotions are a burden. They think they're protecting others by keeping it all inside. They convince themselves that silence is noble, that swallowing pain is the responsible thing to do. But that self-sacrifice, it slowly becomes self-destruction. And the world reinforces it. When a woman cries, people gather around her. When a man cries, people get uncomfortable. They look away, they joke about it. They don't know what to do with a man who is hurting, because we never taught them how. So men learn to toughen up, to swallow grief, to numb anxiety, to pretend, to keep performing the role of the strong one, even when they're barely holding on. This expectation becomes a prison. A man can be surrounded by people, yet feel completely alone inside himself. He can be loved deeply and still believe he isn't allowed to struggle. And that internal conflict, that silent war between what men feel and what they think they're allowed to express, that's what pushes so many to breaking point. Because you can only carry the weight of a mask for so long. Eventually, it cracks. And far too often, it cracks in the dark, when no one can reach them. The stigma around men's mental health isn't just harmful, it's fatal. And until we teach boys that their humanity is not a flaw, men will keep fighting battles no one sees. Mental health struggles in men often don't look the same as they do in women. Where one person might cry or withdraw, a man might bury himself in work. He might drink more, get angrier, push people away. He might laugh louder than anyone in the room while dying inside. We mistake these signs for normal guy behaviour. But behind so many smiles, there's a quiet storm. Depression, anxiety, trauma. They don't discriminate. They can live behind a business suit, a tool belt, or a football top. Behind the dad who provides for everyone but himself. Behind the guy who always seems to have it together. And that's the dangerous part. Men often don't even recognize their own symptoms. They think they're just tired, or stressed, or in a mood. They tell themselves they're just having a rough week, a rough month, a rough year, anything but the truth. Because acknowledging the truth feels like admitting failure. Men often experience emotional pain physically. The tight chest, the tension headaches, the sleepless nights, the constant irritability, not knowing why everything feels overwhelming, only that it does. Instead of seeing these as warning signs, many men see them as inconveniences, things to push through, power past, or ignore. And the world reinforces that invisibility. A man who's withdrawn is seen as introverted. A man who's irritable is seen as short-tempered. A man who drinks too much is just blowing off steam. A man obsessed with work is dedicated. We label the coping mechanisms as personality traits, and the pain behind them goes unnoticed. So the pressure builds quietly, a little more each day, a little more each week, until numbness becomes the default, until he can't remember the last time he felt genuinely okay. Because behind the mask, behind the routine, behind the roles he plays each day, something else is happening. He's slowly shutting down. Men often reach breaking point not with a scream, but with a whisper. Not by asking for help, but by giving up hope that help is even possible. What's beneath the surface isn't weakness, it's exhaustion. Exhaustion from carrying emotions alone, exhaustion from pretending, exhaustion from being the strong one, the dependable one, the one who can handle it. But no one can handle everything, not forever. And until we learn to look beyond the surface, to recognize the subtle signs in the men we love and in ourselves, these hidden battles will continue to go unnoticed. Men don't need to be fixed, they need to be seen, fully, honestly, without judgment. Only then can what's happening beneath the surface finally come into the light. And it shouldn't be this way. No one should have to prove their worth by pretending they're unbreakable. Being a man shouldn't mean carrying everything alone. It shouldn't mean silence. It shouldn't mean suffering quietly because the world told you that's what strength looks like. True strength isn't about hiding the pain. It's about facing it. It's about saying, I'm not okay right now, and that's okay. Imagine if we lived in a world where men could say that freely, without fear of judgment, without feeling like they've failed, where we teach boys that courage isn't about holding it in, but letting it out. That's the kind of world we need to build, because the current one is breaking men. Too many are collapsing under the pressure of expectations that no human being could possibly live up to. We've created a culture where men feel like they have to be everything: the provider, the protector, the steady one, the calm one, the rock, even when they're crumbling inside. And no one can be unbreakable forever, not without losing themselves in the process, not without becoming a version of themselves that's numb, distant, or exhausted. It shouldn't be radical for a man to say he's struggling. It shouldn't be rare for a man to admit he needs help. Yet for so many, it feels impossible. We need to shift the narrative from men should be tough to men should be supported, because toughness isn't the goal. Wellness is. Survival is. A life lived honestly and fully. That's the goal. Imagine the ripple effect. Men allowed to be vulnerable become fathers who teach sons that emotions are normal. Partners who communicate instead of shutting down. Friends who check in and open up. Communities that grow deeper, stronger, and more connected. We can change the culture, but it starts with permission. Permission for men to feel, permission to speak, and permission to break and rebuild without shame. It starts with challenging the old stories, the one that say men just never falter. It starts with rewriting masculinity into something human, compassionate, and real. Because when men finally realize they don't have to wear the armor, they get to live without the weight of it. And that is the world we should all want. A world where no man feels like he has to suffer in silence just to be accepted. That's the kind of world we need to build, and the kind of world we can build, one honest conversation at a time. Awareness months like this aren't just about statistics, they're about starting conversations, because that's where change begins. When one man speaks up, another feels less alone. When one friend really checks in, it can literally save a life. Ask the question, how are you, really? And if the answer sounds rehearsed, ask again. You don't need to fix someone's pain, just give them space to be honest in it. If you're listening right now and you've been holding it in, I want to say this directly to you. You don't have to wear the mask anymore. You don't have to keep pretending. Help isn't a weakness, it's an act of survival. And you're allowed to survive. Here's the hopeful part. Recovery and healing do happen. Therapy works. Medication can help. Talking to a friend can be life-changing. Even the smallest act, going for a walk, journaling, sending that message, it can start a chain reaction. It's about tiny moments of honesty that slowly turn into freedom. Because underneath all the noise, every man just wants to feel safe, to be seen for who he really is, not who he thinks he has to be. And the truth is, healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens in fragments, in small choices, in quiet mornings, in conversations you weren't brave enough to have the day before. It comes from allowing yourself to feel again, even when those feelings scare you. It comes from realizing you don't have to carry everything alone. Hope is built slowly, but it is built, brick by brick, day by day, and some days will feel impossible, some days will feel heavy, but they are still steps forward. Still proof that you're trying, still evidence that you're choosing to stay. And that choice, to keep going, to keep showing up for yourself, is something to be proud of. Healing isn't about becoming a version of yourself that never hurts. It's about becoming a version of yourself that knows you deserve help, support, and peace. No man is beyond saving. No man is too far gone. No man is unworthy of healing. It's never too late to start again, and it's never too late to choose yourself. Every time a man opens up, even just a little, that weight lifts. Not all of it, but enough to breathe. Enough to make space for tomorrow. Enough to prove that healing isn't just possible. It's happening. Quietly, every day, in men who finally give themselves permission to be human. So as we move through Men's Mental Health Month, let's keep this conversation alive. Let's rewrite what it means to be a man. Let's teach our sons that emotions aren't the enemy. Let's remind our friends that silence isn't strength. And let's remind ourselves that we're all just human, doing our best to make it through. If you are struggling right now, please reach out. You are not alone. In the UK, you can call Samaritans at 116 123. In the US, you can dial 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Og lever her Danmark kan du ringe til på 70 20 12 01. And wherever you are in the world, there are people who will listen, free of judgment, because you matter, your life matters, and you deserve to see tomorrow. And before I leave you today, I want to say something deeply personal, something I've carried with me every single day. I lost someone close to me, someone I loved, someone who should still be here. And the truth is, if he had got the help he needed, or if we had understood earlier, or if we had listened instead of judged, he might be right here with me today, sitting beside me, doing this journey with me, healing with me, growing with me. I wish he was. I wish I could call him, laugh with him, tell him how far we've come, There isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss him. His absence is one of the main reasons I started this. Because no one should be lost simply because they felt they had to suffer in silence. No one should feel like their pain is something they have to hide. I hope wherever he is, he can hear this. I hope he knows that I'm doing this for him as much as I am for myself and for anyone out there who feels alone. I hope he's proud of me because I know I was proud of him. Proud of the man he was and the man he was trying to be. Losing him didn't just break me. It opened my eyes. It made me realize how important these conversations are. How urgently we need to change the way we treat men's mental health. How many lives might be saved if we simply made space for honesty. So if you're listening right now, for yourself, for someone you love, or for someone you've lost, know this. There's hope, there's help, there's time, and there are people who care, even when you feel like no one does. So you make sure you wake up tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, because we want you here. The world wants you here. There are people out there who love you, even if you don't quite love yourself yet. You are special, and remember, be good to yourself. Thanks for listening today. Seriously, thank you for sitting with this, for giving your time and your heart to a topic that so many people still shy away from. Conversations like this matter. You matter. And the men in your life matter more than you know. If this episode hit you, moved you, or made you think differently, please take a second to rate the show and follow the podcast and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. A friend, a brother, a partner, a co-worker, whoever comes to mind. Sometimes awareness starts with one conversation, one share, one moment of, hey, listen to this. The more we talk about men's mental health, the more lives we can touch, and the more brothers we can keep here with us. So spread it, share it, help someone feel seen today, and take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. And I'll see you in the next one, you fucking beautiful people.